All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the April 15th, 2021 awards meeting. We do have a quorum represented by Stephen Datz, Joe Arfano, and Hai Vu in person and on site, and Ricky Erickson and Laura Dutton remotely. I am Jenny McCullum, the Director of Procurement Services and Chief Procurement Officer for JEA, and also the Chair of the Awards Committee. We have OGC represented by Julie Davis, and we have Budget represented by Lori Whitmer. Before we get started, I will ask if there are any public comments in the bid office, or if any public is attending.
No, but the committee is here.
Okay, great. Do we have any public comment that came in via email prior to the meeting?
No.
Perfect. And do we have anyone on the call that would like to provide public comment for today's agenda? All right, we will get right to it. On today's agenda, we have items 1, 3 through 4, and 6. We have deferred award number 2 and 5. All the items have been reviewed by Budget and Procurement and are ready for the awards committee review. What we'll do, like always, is review each award individually. I will ask if there are any comments or questions. If not, I will ask for a motion to approve and a second, and then we'll roll call through the committee individually to get your vote. We'll start with the meeting minutes from the April 8th meeting. Do we have any questions or comments? All right, can we get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 8th?
Hai, so moved.
Joe Arfano, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve the meeting minutes from April 8th, starting with Hai Vu.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
And Laura Dutton. Approved. Thank you. Award number 3. This is a contract termination. It was a progressive design build services for the Highland Water Treatment Plant Advanced Treatment System. So this award is to request the termination for convenience with Wharton Smith, Inc. due to change in JEA strategy for mitigation of the THMs in the North Grid. Notice how I didn't try to say that word, Hi. The scope of the project was to design, permit, and construct an advanced treatment system to reduce naturally occurring organic matter in the raw water to reduce the formation of the TTHMs, so that total THMs, and the distribution system served by the Highlands Water Treatment Plant. We originally approved this through the awards committee in December of 2019 and about a little under 1.5 million. On September 2020, we issued a letter to Wharton Smith suspending all work under this contract, and we have a copy of the letter attached in the packet. Excuse me. JEA has decided to cancel this capital project due to significant increase in total estimated project cost from approximately $7 million at the conceptual study to approximately $29 million at 10% design. So JEA has decided to perform additional engineering evaluation of methods to mitigate the TTHMs and to initiate a new capital project that is more cost effective. I'll just note that we've paid Wharton Smith to date almost $425,000 of the original award amount. We do not anticipate any other charges, and the invoice amount covered our 10% design work and performing an ion exchange pilot test to reduce total organic carbon in the raw water. So I will pause there and ask if the committee has any questions or comments.
Jenny, this is Stephen. Just a correction on page 9. The original award is actually $2 less than what's reflected.
Thank you. We will make that edit. Any other questions or comments? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 3.
Stephen Datz, motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Thanks, Laura. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 3 with the minor update in that first paragraph in the background section, starting with Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Laura Dutton. Approved. Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
And Hai Vu.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 4. This was an invitation for bid for construction services for the Arlington East Water Reclamation Facility Phase 1 upgrades. And this is for the odor control improvements. R2T Inc. is our recommended awardee in the amount of $2,161,023. We expect the project completion to be April of 2022, and we received quite a bit of competition on this for 4 bids. If you look at the bid totals, they were somewhat aligned, and if you'll note in the background, we are looking at the bid pricing approximately 40% lower than our budget estimate, which was based on the 100% engineer estimate. So what we looked at when we looked at why there was such a big difference, it looked like there was lower installation costs than estimated. And when we look at the range of the 4 vendors that did bid, we feel confident that this work can be done for that lower amount. Do we have any questions or comments on award number 4? Okay, can we get a motion? Sure.
I do want to ask the project manager or manager to provide a little bit more detail on why the actual bids came in so much lower than the engineer's estimate. Was because the estimate was based on a CMAR contract, et cetera.
Jenny, this is Dan Crook, the purchasing agent. I think I can respond. The PM and his manager did some research yesterday, and it looks as if the 100% design estimate number that was given to us for this installation of this fee wasn't exactly accurate, because they came up with a total 100% design estimate, including purchase of the equipment, which JEA had the CMAR purchase under a separate contract. And the CMAR was able to negotiate a significant savings based on what the engineer had estimated the cost to be of about $800,000. But so when the engineer gave us the estimate for the installation, they just deducted the actual purchase price of the equipment from the total 100% design and gave that to us instead of their original estimate for the cost of the equipment. So that was about an $800,000 delta. So that is a large chunk of the difference.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, this is Bradley Collier. That would put the installation estimate at about $2.8 million, and our bids came in anywhere between 2.1 and 2.8.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, guys. Any other questions or comments? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 4.
Joe Orfano, so moved.
Stephen Datz, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 4, starting with Joe Orfano,
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
Hai Vu,
Approved.
Ricky Erickson,
Approved.
and Laura Dutton. Approved. Thank you. This is our last award. Award number 6 is a contract increase. This is for our water, wastewater, general construction services contracts. So we went out to bid and approved by the awards committee in September of 2017. And we awarded $42 million split between 3 vendors: Williams Industrial Services, Petticoat Schmidt Civil Contractors, and WPC Industrial Contractors. This work, just as a background, is largely industrial contractors that possess technical expertise in operations, maintenance, and construction for large municipality utilities. The construction and maintenance activities performed under this contract will primarily take place at the water and wastewater plants, also the water well sites and the wastewater pump stations. This request is a contract increase to Williams Industrial in the amount of $9 million and Petticoat Schmidt in the amount of $5 million. And this is largely due to the increased work between those 2 vendors. We have debarred our 3rd vendor, WPC Industrial, due to issues on another contract. And so due to those issues in the debarment, JEA stopped using WPC for this contract until those are all resolved and the debarment has ended. This has caused, again, the increase with the other 2 vendors than what we had originally anticipated. This is a 5-year award, and we are well through about 3.5 years of it. So this should get us through the end of the term of September of 2022. This is handled just like we handle the electric side, where we've got the 2 methods. There's a competitive lump sum bid between companies for project work, which accounts for a very large portion of the total work, and then a direct award with time and material rates to the company best suited to perform specialized work, repair, maintenance, etc. I will ask if there's any questions or comments on award number 6.
Jenny, this is Hai. The portion that was added by OGC last night, just under scope of work, last sentence, just a correction there. If you scroll to page 20, under scope of service, scope of work. All right, yes, right there, fourth line from the bottom of the last of that paragraph. Can you change contact to contract?
Okay, yep,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hey, Jenny, this is Joe Perez. Just a quick correction. The WPC debarment has not yet ended. It will be ending this year, mid-August.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Joe. Any other comments or questions? All right, I will ask for a motion to approve award number 6. Laura Dutton, so moved. Thanks, Laura. Can I get a second?
Hai Vu,
Thanks,
second.
Hai. Great. We will roll call through the committee to approve award number 6, starting with Laura Dutton. Approved. Hai Vu.
Approved.
Joe Orfano.
Approved.
Stephen Datz.
Approved.
And Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
Thank you. As you guys can see on the screen, we do have, with such a short agenda, wanted to do another presentation by the Water Wastewater Group about joint projects and how those work. So Michael Suleiman is going to lead us through that. We thought this might be helpful for you guys to, have a deep dive into joint projects, similar to what Sean Connor did last week. The majority of our contracts, as you can see this week, is the Water Wastewater Show. And so we just want to make sure everybody understands those methods of procurement and why we do what we do for those. So I'm going to pass it over to Michael and let him take us through the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. Good morning, Awards Committee members. As Jenny said, my name is Michael Suleiman. I'm a professional engineer here at JEA, and I manage the joint agency projects on the water and sewer side here for PEC. And so this presentation is really just to give you an explanation of what joint projects are and does, as this is a little different than a lot of the other projects that we do within JEA as far as the contract and procurement process. So with that, Lynn, next slide, please. So here's kind of what I'm going to be going over today. Just a few little topics here to tell you how we're going to move through the presentation. Talk a little bit about definition, who we consider partner agencies, how we go through design reviews, some existing agreements that we have with those partners, the DOT project process, the JTA process, and then the other agencies process as well. Next slide, Lynn. So first one here that we have is really just a definition of what a joint project is. Typically, these are roadway improvement projects that our partners are undertaking where JEA has identified a need to replace or improve our existing facilities within their project limits. And these would come typically from the operation and maintenance group or from the planning. Or if neither one of those groups need anything to be done, sometimes we have a conflict between their proposed project that they're installing and our existing facilities. And it's important to note that, most of our utilities here are in the right of way and they are there by permit, which means we don't have a whole lot of rights if the DOT is coming along to install something and we have a conflict. So some of the examples of projects that we typically work with or through are the resurfacing type projects, drainage improvements, sometimes bridge construction, traffic signals being installed. But also what is a joint project is not that I do not handle is I'm not involved with any kind of developer driven projects where we are installing, utilities in conjunction with that developer. And also I do not do grant funded projects from the state or federal agencies. Next slide, Lynn. So our partner agencies that we work with here is the Department of Transportation, District 2 specifically. That's the one that we fall within. Also the Jacksonville Transportation Authority, JTA, the City of Jacksonville, and St. Johns County and Nassau County here recently as well. And just one thing I will add here is JEA does more work through the joint projects with the department in District 2 than all of those other counties combined. So we are old hats at doing this. I've been here with JEA for a little over 5 years, and we still continue to do the most amount of work with the DOT throughout the district. Next slide, Lynn. So on our process here, the schedule is always dictated by that lead agency, not by JEA. We are always a small part of their project, and so they really are the lead agency and kind of dictate the schedule. But it's important to note that our standards always apply. That always seems to be a question from the committee of, who's in charge of the project. And since these are our facilities, we always have 100% say in what happens with our facilities within that project. And that includes us reviewing the design drawings, certainly construction, going to the construction meetings. So it is something that we are always involved in. And it's important to note that this is always JEA's money. We are not giving it away to those agencies. They are sometimes handling it for us based on the contract, but it is not something that we just give away. And if we spend less, the money does come back to JEA. Lynn, next slide. So we do have some existing agreements with folks. The first one here is the Florida Department of Transportation. It has been in place for quite some time, over 20 years. And they do both design for us through their contractor, which would be the engineer, as well as construction for us through their contractor. We don't need to sign an agreement every time that we transfer funds because we do have that master agreement with the department. And so when we start working with their engineers, we always negotiate a scope and fee with them. So it pertains really just to our work within that project. And for construction, it does go out to bid through the department. But a couple of things I will note here. I'll stay on that slide for me, Lynn. Oh, I'm sorry. I moved my slide. We come to the awards committee here before the department goes out to bid. The agreement calls for us to send them a pre-bid funding based on an estimate that we have with the department. And we do that because, one, it's required in our agreement, but it's been required in our agreement because sometimes other utilities would come through and say, yes, we're going to do these projects, but then they end up backing out and it leaves the department in a very bad spot to then, try to work through changes that were needed to be done by the utility, but then they've decided to back out at the last minute here for bidding. So they require funding before they go out to bid, and then depending on the actual bid results, we may need to come back to the committee to ask for additional funds if the bids come back higher than what we estimated at the beginning. If the bids come back lower, then the department refunds us the difference of that money minus a 10% contingency, which again, if they don't use, comes back to us, and 5% currently for administration of that contract. The next slide. So the JTA, we also have an interagency agreement with them. It's been in place for a few years. Unlike the departments, it did specify a dollar limit to be had as an upper limit for projects. And the projects that were typically being done were Better Jacksonville Plan projects that the city had not accomplished. And so with them as well, there's a 10% contingency that we give them for construction and 5% for administration and CEI works. And typically we have transferred all of those funds already to the JTA. Unless they decide to come up with some additional projects, this agreement here will sunset at the end of probably of 2022 when the projects are complete. Next slide, Lynn. So some folks, we don't have overall interagency agreements, and that includes the city of Jacksonville. We do have specific project agreements with them, one being the septic tank phase out, but otherwise we don't have a general agreement with them. So we actually do not transfer funds between the city and JEA. We actually have separate contracts and purchase orders with some of those folks. Nassau County, we do have some specific project agreements that we've done here recently, including William Burgess. That one is in design, and once it goes into construction, and Nassau County bids that project out, we'll come back to the awards committee to ask for authorization to approve that award and move forward with the contract for them. Page's Dairy Road is actually under construction now, so that agreement had already come through to the awards committee. And then St. Johns County, again, we have no specific agreement with them, so there is no transferring of funds between the agencies. We have separate contracts and POs, which would come to the awards committee for approval. And if we do need more specific agreements or even a general one like we would have with the department, those agreements would come before the awards committee for approval. Lynn, next slide. So I threw the slide in just so as you see with the department when there's some of the backup documentation that comes in, they note them as by phases. And so phase 32 is really the engineering portion of the project. Phase 52 or phase 56 will be construction. Phase 62 would be the contract administration. And then we would have our own JEA inspectors out on site for design, bid, build, or if we do design build projects with the department, all of those funds come under phase 56. And some of the projects that we're working on design build with the department include the 295 managed lanes out on the east side here. I-95 is going to be widened between Butler and Atlantic, and that is going on as a design build, as well as I-10 between 95 and 295. Lynn, next slide. So with JTA, again, these are JEA funded projects that we have wanted to do. And as I said before, the program is coming to an end, and we have gone through design, bid, build, as well as design, build project with the JTA. Lynn, next slide. With our friends at the city of Jacksonville, again, we've worked through interagency agreements with them on the septic tank phase out. Those projects that we do with them typically are, small drainage, some resurfacing type projects, or as in the case of like Lower East Side, total reconstruction of the neighborhood where JEA have gone in and redone gravity sewer work as well as water main work in that area just north of the stadium. Again, we contract and hire, we contract with those engineers and the actual contractor, even though it's bid out as part of the city's project, and that comes before the awards committee for approval. And again, with St. Johns County, no master agreements are in place, nor with Nassau County. We are working to do those with them. But several projects, like I said, that we've done here recently with them include Racetrack Road, Page's Dairy, and William Burgess Boulevard, a water main extension while that new road is being built. Lynn, and last slide. So just a brief overview of the joint projects. And so I will take any questions that you may have for me.
So thanks, Mike. A great presentation. I have a hypothetical question. So with the DOT and the COJ, they go out and bid their project. What happens when they award the project to an engineer or a contractor that's been debarred from working for JEA? What would we do in that instance?
So good question. Hi, we have not had that happen yet, but we require both the engineer to be on our current QPL list that does any work for us, and all of the contractors that perform the work must be also on our RBL list that's current at the time of bidding.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Any other questions for Michael?
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Michael.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
All right, so I will ask if there's any other business to come before the awards committee. All right, we've approved all the awards. So the meeting minutes, awards 3, 4, and 6. And so the entire agenda has been approved for April 15th, 2021. I hope that everybody has a great Thursday and a wonderful weekend. Everybody stay safe and healthy. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.